What is going on, everybody? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. Let me know if you're there. Hope everyone's doing well. I flew back in about two days ago, so I didn't really get uh, jet lagged or anything. What threw me off is Saturday. So I flew into London Saturday, as I told y'all. But Saturday to Sunday, there was a time change in London. That threw me off. So, yeah, so London or the UK doesn't do their time change with the United States. So, it's like I flew in and I was good, and then they did a time change, and that messed me over. So, hope everyone's doing good. Rouser, what's going on? Amy, what's going on? Wits, what's going on? Hopefully everyone's doing well. Um, yeah, this week was like a really intense week. I would be remiss. I don't even know what that actually means, but I would. Today, South of Midnight came out for people who had got the Ultimate Edition of the game, which just came with like the art book, the audio thing, digital, and pre-ordered it. So I was able to pick up South of Midnight. I actually put in a good, I don't know, hour and a few minutes. So third chapter of it. So far the story's solid. It's still kind of a mystery. Gameplay is still is not like it's not super soulsy like it's meant for you to get in. I would say if you played Kena Bridge of Spirits, it's like probably a level below Kena. Like I thought Kena was a little bit harder. This one so far is a little bit more simple. Um, a lot of accessibility features, and like I said, so far I'm enjoying the story. But we'll see. And Remy, what are you doing? Okay, I guess I wasn't supposed to say that. But so yeah, so hopefully everyone's doing well. I better be if I was oh no, Rouser, what's wrong? Did you get stuck? I've seen people streaming it, but haven't watched any of it. Okay, well I'll play it, and you don't even have to watch it if you plan on playing it. I'll stream it Sunday. Um so y'all can see, and I'll start from the beginning. Like I'll start a new game. So far, like I said, I just kind of went through to kind of understand the story and put a little bit more of a scene with the soundtrack. Like I said, I listened to the soundtrack last week, so there's that. But today's show is really about Nintendo. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with Nintendo. Some of it not so great, some of it really great. And I will be giving you all a little bit of sneak peek of like some videos. So after the show, I am going to be streaming or not streaming. I'll be dropping like 4 or 5 videos, which will release over the next week or so about like more of my thoughts about any one of these topics that I will be talking about today, as well as some other topics. So, if you did not know, the Nintendo Switch 2 was officially revealed. I guess it wasn't necessarily revealed, but they had a Nintendo Direct about it yesterday. And I watched the Direct. Lots of features with the Nintendo. Some of them you actually might recognize. Like I was actually going to make a video about this. Some of it is very, may I dare say, Stadia-esque, but not in the way you might think. Some of it was like there were some game reveals going on there. So we saw something from software as well as IO Interactive officially kind of revealed some certain things. We also saw Hollow Knight Silk Song. We saw a Hollow Knight Silk Song sighting. So that was there, as well as a couple of other things. Overall, I thought it was a pretty solid direct as far as like showcasing a product and in laying out like kind of the next steps. Another big thing that they said is it's going to launch June 5th, which is really crazy because I won't be in town June 5th. But they had that. Verdansk dropped today. Verdansk. Did we showcase Verdansk? Jeff, are you? Let me see. Verdansk. Have we seen Verdansk? No, we have not showcased Verdansk. I don't even know what Verdansk is, but I see a lot of Call of Duty stuff. So, but okay, Verdansk launched. And 30 minutes to try and fix what I told them it was. Oh, no, let's see. Server issues at work. I'm here basically as a tester since there are engineers working on the server. I told them where I thought the problem was, then took them over an hour to tell me it was the same issue. Oh, server issues are no fun, Rouster. Hopefully they are going to compensate you for working longer or something. Like, maybe you don't have to come in tomorrow. I don't know. But hopefully that happens. But yeah, so that was the Nintendo Direct. And so like there were a couple like features in the Direct, that I thought were really cool. Obviously, we knew that the thing was going to look the same. We had seen some rumors about um the Joy-Cons acting as like a mouse type of situation. So that was true there. One of the features I thought was, hey Crow, what's going on? One of the features I thought was really I was looking forward to, or wasn't even looking forward to, but a feature in gaming that I really think amplifies the experience is surround sound. So I think they were talking more like 3D sound versus surround, which is still great. Like I'm still totally into any type of more immersive sound signatures there. So it seems like the new Switch is going to support that. Obviously, a lot of people have talked about graphics and fidelity. So they said handheld mode, 1080p, 100 up to 120 frames per second, or docked, which is what I play, uh, 4K up with 60 frames per second. And obviously, it depends on the game and how they optimize the game, but that's what they're saying they can push. And I think some games will probably not be pushing that, especially because they showed some pretty heavy hitters as far as the power you need, such as Cyberpunk. Um, some of the things, another thing I thought was really interesting, and kind of like proved one of my thesis, which is the entire games industry is really dependent on two companies to do well this year. One of them is Nintendo. One of them is Take Two Interactive. And what we saw at the actual during the actual launch, we saw a ton of publishers and just coming out to support the Switch, right? So we saw numerous game developers coming out, saying either they're going to launch a game that wasn't originally on Switch, either showcasing a game that they're going to say is going to launch day and date on Switch, or announcing a game for the first time during that direct, or announcing a game as an exclusive, a third party exclusive for the Nintendo Switch. Now, that is actually pretty big in my opinion. Like the last time we talked about third party exclusives with Nintendo, I can't even remember. There may be some with the Switch. I don't know off the top of my head, but definitely at a direct, we hadn't seen something like that. And so I thought that was a really interesting moment. I think Jordan will go down in history as the second worst idea Nintendo had had next to the Power Glove. Power Glove was not a bad idea. But Crow, I'm curious why you think that. Because I think there's certain games that you would kind of need a Joy-Con for, right? Like me personally, I think anything like Civilization, which they actually did show Civilization, but anything like that, Civilization or uh, a Minecraft type of game, games that like don't really do well um with the with the controller, I think it's worthwhile. But also I think that there's other games that could necessarily work, especially I mean, uh Jeff always is playing like these spray games. So they show a spray game. I don't know. But the fact is that they tried it. Like that's I guess where I look at it. I don't necessarily think all their ideas are gonna work, but I think some of them will work. Um, and I think that's what makes Nintendo Nintendo. I think uh, Nintendo, the Virtual Boy was a pretty bad idea, but that's me personally. Um, so hey Simpleton, hey Obi, not hey answer, but that price. We are about to talk about that in a second. And oh, here's the idea: play it with a real mouse or on PC. true, but sometimes people don't wanna play on PC. Like, I think that's, um and we'll see if you can actually, like, connect a mouse to it. I don't know, we don't know. I also think there's other types of gameplay that can be done with it. So, I think it's a great ex how should I say it? A great tool for accessibility reasons. And when I say accessibility reasons, I literally mean accessibility reasons. Um, like, I think if everybody could play on a PC, then yeah, I don't know if we're there. I actually don't. But I think if you can play on a PC, great. That's it. The fact is no one made games for it. It was hard to use, and there were better ways to do it with which it did. I think the mouse Joy-Con will have the same issue. Hey, Joe. Maybe, maybe. I think the difference is the form factor. Maybe, right? We know how a mouse works. We didn't really know how a Power Glove worked. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I horrible ideas. I think every company has horrible ideas. That doesn't mean for them not to try it. I guess that's where I come from. Your new name is a mouthful. Whose new name? Who has a new name? To so many people who don't want a game on PC or spend the money on a game. I could see that too. Not sure of validity, but apparently the one button don't work unless you have the membership. That is horrible. What, the chat button? The the membership's $20, but that's also like it kind of makes an interesting thing because like the only time you would be using, I guess you could use just to use it like a party chat feature. I guess I see what you're saying, OB Rose. But if it's a multiplayer game on console, you need a membership to play any multiplayer game on console nowadays. So, and Nintendo's is 20, as opposed to I think the cheapest is Game Pass Core at 10. I don't know. I don't know what PlayStation has. The PlayStation may have one that's cheaper. Don't quote me on that. But Nintendo's is 20 annually. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. New old name is just Joe Games. Oh, is it? I agree. Nintendo has always been able to try new things, and I'm glad they do. I just don't think this idea will catch on. We'll see. I think it all depends on, like you said, I think the games for it. So that's automatically something that's different. I just realized I didn't wear earrings. That's something that I think is different, or something that will be different from the Power Glove is that there are games that technically probably could run better with a mouse that they put on console. So any type of real-time strategy, I always like have a difficult time playing with it. Even on Xbox with Age of Empires, I'm like, why? um, and so if there's a mouse, we'll see. Do people connect it to a monitor? I don't know. Do people like Sandy Cowboy's wife Sandy? She was showing how in their new house they have a video that came out like a week and a half ago where she's demonstrating this, like she has the TV there and she has this tray to work on. And I thought, like, in my mind, if you're gonna use the Joy-Con, like, to play a game, and you have the TV out there and you have a flat surface here, like, I could see where that works. But again, I'm different, right? I don't play the Switch as a handheld. I play the Switch as a, uh, what is it called? Docked and as a console. And actually, except for 2 things. There was something in Gorogoa where I needed to put it in handheld mode, and there's a certain gyro mechanic within Breath of the Wild that I needed to put in handheld mode just 'cause it worked better. So, so I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I will bet every bank on earth's money that you will not be able to use a normal mouse on Switch 2. That is gonna be so funny if it happens because 'cause you're gonna be like you're gonna be like me with Joe when Joe gets my number 8 or number 7 game pick during the game. Like, how did you get it? I've used the glove and I still don't know how it works. The glove, yeah, the glove, you needed certain games, but it still worked. I mean, they had a trackpad. What about the trackpad? That was first. And so I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna hate on 'em for doing it. Like, if you don't want to use it, you don't want to use it. like, like that's how I look at it. If it's a controller, it's a controller. And if you don't want to use the mouse, you don't want to use it. But I could see certain games where it makes sense to use. And that's what I'm gonna say. Because like using a mouse on the Xbox that doesn't work. It does work, but it doesn't work that great. So yeah, has made some strides with this go around. I thought they did. I thought they did. Game chat isn't something I would expect for free. We don't have it for free now, except for the PC Master Race. Yeah, I thought but see, so the only thing I would say though, to your point, Simpleton, is the other two have a party chat feature. And so I don't know if we will be able to do party chat or if it's only in-game chat. Like that's something that we'll have to see. But again, Nintendo was really catering to a much uh younger, like it doesn't cater to a younger audience, but it kind of does in the same time. And so I think that there is a lot of controls there when you do have a segment of the gaming population who are minors that like Xbox and PlayStation, for sure, PlayStation don't really take into account the same way. Like Xbox still has parental controls that you can control a lot of stuff. PlayStation, I may have parental controls. I don't really know. But the fact is, like, I know I've seen it on Xbox. I haven't seen it on PlayStation, but Nintendo, there's no doubt about it that Nintendo has a younger population. So I I could see why they would be more restrictive in their voice chat. Looking at you, what is it, Roblox, who's become like this bastion of pedophiles. Um, Hey, it's just is Bunker Breakout coming to Switch too? No. Girl, I just remember enough is the new movie. Whoop, that kind of in the 80s. I want to finish the Zelda games, but yeah, I don't have the time. So yeah, time poor is a thing. I'm gonna talk about this because we're gonna talk about the most controversial thing. Like I like which a lot and I say controversial because that's what the media the what we've seen so far. But I do want to talk about kind of some of these other things that we saw from them. And so, I had mentioned this. I don't think I'm going to make a video about this just because only the Stadia community would actually, I think, care. But we did see some features from this Nintendo Direct that also were Stadia features, right? And the biggest one that sticks out is the Stadia called it State Share, and I don't know what Nintendo Switch called it or Switch 2 called it or what Nintendo's calling it, but the ability to like someone build something, like so what they showed is something in the Tears of the Kingdom, like someone built, they could like literally like take a picture of it, send it through a QRF code. Someone else could like scan that QRF code, and then it automatically builds up in their Tears of the Kingdom game. That is a form of state share. And so I thought that was pretty unique. I don't know what, like, especially with Nintendo, the audience there, the game developer support there, how they can use that more. Obviously, we saw IO Interactive partake in the switch to Direct. IO Interactive was one of the biggest developers who supported the idea of state share on Stadia. So I thought that was just cool. Like right, one of my I guess not mentors anymore, but Jack Buser from the Stadia time. I got to kind of know him a few years ago, and he had told me like when Stadia shut down, I was like, Jack, how could you do that? And he said, essentially like, hey, the benefit is like you'll see some if it my makeup's smearing. Um, he said essentially if there's a feature that was really great, you'll see it eventually in another system. And so that was one of those features. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. How about the robot that opened doors on Metroid? That's at least had a use unlike the glove. The robot that opened the doors on Metroid, like Samus? Like the main character? Or no, like the little guy. Okay, so can you agree that the wheelchair game was a bad game to demo the mouse with? I agree a game like Age of Empires would work well with it. Yeah, I could well, the whole idea of the demo, like the I think the wheelchair game, was it a bad game? Probably wasn't the best game. The whole like, I think the worst part of the entire Nintendo Direct, if anything, was when they had said you had to pay for the demo. I could understand in one instance why that makes sense. I can not understand in another instance that makes sense, but we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I don't think it would have been the best. I think like they had Civilization, that would have probably been a really good one. Like any of those games where it's like we're used to clicking versus like scrolling with a thumb pad. I found the wheelchair game a little insensitive. Jeff, really? Wheelchair game was an odd choice. Yeah, I think everybody. I agree. It's a weird thing to show at the first mouse game. Yeah, was it the first one? I thought the first one was the showed like this golfing looking thing. I thought that was the first one. And then they showed another thing was like spray painting. And then from the wheelchair thing, the only thing I could say about the wheelchair, like not thinking from it from a game perspective, but thinking of it from like the possibilities perspective. Uh if you have the Joy Cons, they start to really act as this thing. So this is the, what do you call this? Um this is the thing for the PS port, the PSVR 2. I had to think of the name here for a second. These are the things for the PSVR 2. And what you see a lot of times with this is like you can start to mount these things separately to like make a gun, to make an ore. So when I saw like I agree it was like an odd thing to showcase. Um But as far as the technology in general, I could see where their vision is going. The current Joy-Cons, I don't think can act the same way like that. Maybe they can as a they might, but the way when they showed the wheelchair, it kind of spurred a different idea for me that seemed more like the PSVR 2 um nunchucks. I don't know what they call those things. I've never played my Switch and thought to myself, I wish I had a mouse. I'm probably most likely not at desk anyway when I'm playing Switch. Yeah, the time I would have, like I said, I think it comes down to like games that are more point and clicky. Um, there have been times for games where I've thought, hey, that the blueprint share with the companion app. There are games where I've said this game would work better with a mouse, and therefore I don't play it on the the device, right? Or I would need to go play it on another device. So a great game that works with a mouse that I probably would get on Switch if I become purely a Nintendo streamer, which I don't know if I'll do that, but let's just say Nintendo can play all the games I want to play. A game I was enjoying that is going to come to console, but it's not going to be nearly as cool as it is on PC is Hotel Architect. So the game I played coming from Wire Productions. That game, you need to like rotate stuff. It doesn't really work with a controller. Like the button mapping doesn't really work with a controller. I also think um if you're there's certain like shooting games now that makes it a little bit more accessible, right, for certain people. That especially if you're talking about something like a Splatoon, or if they are going to lean more into games that are shooter parallel type of games, I could see where this is more like an accessibility feature and not necessarily a huge new leap in gameplay feature. Even though I think it can be that as well. I like I think just making that feature available in the one device, again, I look at the people who play like when I go to the Nintendo store in New York and I look at the people who are going to play Nintendo. It's a very wide range of people, but there's a lot of people who are disabled that use the Switch as like their main gaming device. I'll say it like that. I think some people in wheelchairs might be like seeing someone in a wheelchair in a game, but I agree the game didn't look great. Yeah, I'm not. Again, I thought it was more of a demo. Was it a game? It may have been a game, right? I don't know. I think I was looking at this showcase or the whole thing more from an angle of features, not necessarily like games. Um, like there were certain games, like I said, where they had all the developers coming out and all the publishers coming out. It was more or less the publishers. What I saw there wasn't necessarily like obviously they showcase certain games, but what I was looking at is like, yo, here's all the support. So every Nintendo over the last 20 decades, so not the first, not Super Nintendo, not everything after 64. So GameCube, Wii U, and Switch. One of the main criticisms has always been what? Publisher support for the game. So from like a standpoint of like, hey, they need to do this better, they did that better. And that's kind of where I landed on like it was things like that that was drawing my attention during the whole thing. They're all I'm talking about was Rob, robotic operating by NES Gyromite robot. I guess you never saw that one back in the day. No, wait, like Johnny Robot? I don't know. You said the no. If it's on NES, I didn't play that game. I mean, I played a lot of games on NES, but not. I didn't actually play Metroid on it on NES. I know. But it's weird. Like NES is like the generation of gaming where like I feel like there's like certain people will say games I'm like I didn't play that. Like there's like 20 games I played and then outside of that I didn't know anything about other games. I like the representation of the wheelchair game. It actually looks interesting. Simpleton, are you I can never tell about Simpleton, man. I can never tell. Simpleton's like Ron Slusher. I cannot tell when they're being serious and when they're not being serious. Um Comfort, best comment of the night. I'm a Hellion, right? I've never been playing Switch and said, "Hey, I need a mouse." Uh, what? I didn't. That's what that wasn't. I didn't. That was what Crow said. Hey, Mel, what's going on? We're just talking about. We're about to get into some controversial stuff, and like probably my most controversial takes of the day. So nice here. Thank y'all. Okay, go ahead, Obi. I think the channel voted only to Nintendo would be a great idea. So many streamers do it and have success. With all the new and current games, I could see views and views. Well, I want to play. I don't know if it would be only devoted for Nintendo, but I am a pretty big Nintendo fan. And I don't think I've talked about why that is as much. Like, obviously, there's Zelda, obviously, there's Pikmin. It's like the first, it's actually the second console, but it's probably the first console I really played a lot. Like Atari, I kind of played, but not back then. It was like still like my parents played Atari, and then I kind of played Atari. But then when Nintendo came out, that was kind of like more of a kids type of thing. So, but when I think about Nintendo, like I just think they're a really well ran company. And now we're gonna get into probably the most controversial stuff. Video on the Switch. No worries, Mel. Hopefully, I don't contradict you, Mel. Hopefully, or if I do, you can call me out in the video if you want. All right. So, probably the most controversial thing for the Switch 2, and we really saw that today, was the pricing of the Switch 2, and particularly the pricing of the Mario Kart game. All right. So towards the end of the direct, they revealed Mario Kart. Actually, the very end, they revealed Donkey Kong. The beginning, they revealed Mario Kart, and then they talked about pricing. And they said essentially Mario Kart is going to be $80, and they said digitally. They didn't say physically; they said digitally. And it seemed like the collective gaming community, or not collective, but I would say a solid 4 out of 5, 3 out of 4 gamers like lost their mind about this $80 a game. And I get it. I think game price increases are not cool no matter what. But I did want to show y'all something. So y'all know me. All right. I am a stickler for data. All right. And I want to show y'all this. All right. So here we go. This is something that you could go look at it. I know. It's like, what is purple showing us? And it is something from the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics. I know. Data. I know. I can't help it. I can't help it. But what this is an inflation calculator. You can type this in, CPI inflation calculator, and you will get to the same site as I just got to, right? And when you type in $60, all right, and then when you type in when the Switch 2 came out and what a $60 game was worth, and you put in for last month, not this month because we don't have the actual readings for this month. We won't have that for a few more days. And we definitely won't have what it is for June of 2025 until July. But if I just put in April 2017 to February 2025, so that is how much Tears of the Kingdom was in 2017, $60 game, came out with the launch of the Switch, $60 game back then, and I put it in for today, what I get is $78.29. Again, this is not quite June. There's a very good chance of possibility by June that number will actually be closer to $79.50, if not $80 on the dot. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up to show that just based upon inflation alone, that the price of a $60 game during when Switch 1 launched is actually the same price almost as basically an $80 game today. This means all video games are going to, yes, that might be it. That might be it. But that's the truth of the matter. Now, you could get me on the console, because if I put this in as a console, 300, it's going to come out to be like 390 or something like that, 391. You could say, yo, the console's more expensive. But just based upon that thing right there, that's why I don't necessarily think like it's unheard of. Like, I don't think this is actually anti-consumer. Like, I keep hearing this word anti-consumer. I don't actually think people know what anti-consumer means. It's like when people talk about woke or DI, like they're just throwing out terms. And I hate when they do that, because anti-consumer actually means something. And it doesn't necessarily mean keeping up with inflation. That's why I wanted to bring this up. But let me see what you're saying. You get the bundle, it's $4.90, so the console is like $4.10, not bad when you think about it. Look, I continue to see, like, I saw someone write, I'm going to get the Switch, but I'm not going to buy Mario Kart because it's 80. So I was like, okay, well, just get the bundle. Mario Kart, if you were already going to buy the Switch 2, then just get the bundle for $50 more, and your Mario Kart costs 50, right? Like, or maybe you split the cost between the two, or the savings between the two. So your Mario Kart comes out to be 65 and your Switch comes out to be 435. I don't know how you want to split the thing on it, but like, I can see where they're trying to say, look, that's the $80 game. Now, I will also say that is for Mario Kart, right? Donkey Kong is actually going to be $70. And if the game is anywhere close to as long or like to a traditional Mario or whatnot, we will have to see how long the actual game is. Potentially, I could see them justifying 70. Like, I think what people forget about Nintendo is Nintendo for the Switch generation, first party games for Nintendo ranged between 50 and 70. And I would expect them to have that same kind of sliding scale this time. Like, I would expect some games to be 60, some to be 70, some to be 80. But again, I think that has to do with inflation. Like, the thing I think I push back a lot with the idea Jeff doesn't buy games, so it won't affect him. Jeff gets games great. Most people won't care about inflation, but if you ever get that, I get the bundle for my son. This has been coming for a while now. Heck, I think so. So My thing, hey, Aaron, what's going on? I'm buying the Switch 2. I'm buying Mario Kart World Physical. I'll pay the extra. Look, Aaron wants the extra. So I guess what I'm saying ultimately when it comes to this is that gamers, in a way, of course, want everything. Because I've heard this same thing. Like people said, hey, I don't mind paying $70 for a game as long as it doesn't have bugs. Or people would say, like, hey, I paid 70 and the game has bugs. Or they'll say stuff like, um, what like why am I going to buy it now if I can get it on sale later? So many different things. Or like, why am I going to support a company that doesn't treat its employees right? Right. And so this kind of gets back to what I was talking about, why I like Nintendo. The number one gaming company with the longest tenure of its employees at its company is Nintendo. The average tenure of a Nintendo employee is something crazy like 15 to 16 years. That's crazy. That's the average tenure. Okay. And so as a company is growing, that average is including people who just started a year or 2 years ago. So it very well could be that the median tenure is higher than the average. Right? When I think about companies that have always like did right by their employees, so much to the point that where executives have taken a pay cut so people didn't get fired, that's Nintendo. When I talk about companies that have actually pushed the gaming industry forward, that's Nintendo. That's why I like Nintendo. And now when I see a price increase that matches inflation, I don't like to see it, but I also understand that that's just the world the economics, the macroeconomic environment. Like, what do we want? Nintendo, if there's only one game that I can think of that Nintendo published recently that came out with bugs, that's Pokemon Scarlet. Smash Brothers, you can't tell me that. Zeldas, you can't tell me that. The Kirby's, you can't tell me that. The Pikmin, you can't tell me that. Heck, even Ori, the 4K game from Xbox, when it came to Switch, it ran beautifully. When Nintendo partners and launches a game, it comes without bugs. They treat their employees right. You never hear Nintendo get into like something about like sexual harassment or some crazy claim like that. They take the stuff seriously. So it's like, yes, sucks that the price is going up, but at the end of the day, where does the quality side of the conversation comes from? And that's, I guess, where I stand. It's like the game's got to go up anyway. I already told y'all. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going up. You know, I've heard like Xbox, all them, they're going to raise the price. We already talked about this. The difference is that I know Nintendo actually is at the end of the day somewhat of a decent company. Like I don't know any American company that's like, hey, the executive will take a pay cut to keep the employees. I don't know another company like that. Actually, I probably could think of a couple of hippie companies, but different story. We'll see. I might buy Metroid Prime 4 for OG Switch. Go for it. Go for it. People tell me they prefer the USA healthcare system than ours in Canada. I don't know about that. Prefer a 10,000 medical bills to once. Let's be serious. How often do you play your Switch? How often do I play my Switch? I haven't played my Switch in a while. But that's why I'm saying I may be playing Switch more because Switch hasn't gotten the games I wanted to play recently. And now they might. When I first came back to gaming, actually, I never left Switch. Like I played Breath of the Wild when it first dropped, and that was when I was really gaming. And I just never like I had some Super Smash Brothers. I have like a whole like thing of Switch games up there, but I haven't really played my Switch that much. But that doesn't mean I can't be a fan of the company. I would think some of the third parties will have comparable fidelity to other consoles. We'll see. I bet Grins is going to be like 109. It could be. It could be. Black Myth Wukong was like $400 collectors. Like, we're already paying this cost. That's my other thing I don't get. We already are paying this. Depending on the game, like Diablo. If I want to play Diablo and play it with the season pass, that's like a $90 game right off the bat. And since I play it on Xbox, I have to get I have to play the subscription to play on Xbox. So it's closer to $90 to $100. Here's the other thing. When I looked at this showcase when it came to Nintendo, I love to buy Metroid for Switch 2, but if the upgrade is that much more, I don't know. It's probably going to be 10. One thing I don't like is the new Switch 2 boxes. You've already seen the boxes? That's crazy. I haven't seen. Where did you see the boxes? Joe, I would argue that folks don't buy Nintendo first parties for the fidelity of the games. Yeah. I would say, like, where is it going with the previous comment? Here's the other thing about Mario Kart that is being lost to some of the conversation. I thought what Nintendo did with you can not only lend out a game. Now, we talked about this last time, and Holtz came on and yibbity yabbity, and I didn't quite understand Holtz's argument. But let's say game, like, you put yourself on someone's Switch, they can play your games, and you can play your games over here, blah, 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 blah. Still don't quite understand what Holtz was saying. But during the Mario Kart showcase, they showed where if I had Mario Kart and I wanted to play with, like, my brother Mario Kart, and we both had a Switch, I could basically give him the game so we could play Mario Kart together. That doesn't tell me the other game company that has done that. And I don't want to hear something like Split Fiction or Hazel Light, because those are 2-player games. I can't play that game by 1 player. But let me give you an example like Remnant. I told you I love Remnant, or Outriders. If I want to play Outriders with someone else, I now need to either give them the money to buy Outriders or Remnant or whatever the other kind of co-op game I'm trying to play with them, or I have to convince them to buy the game. But now I can loan them out the game, not just one. I can loan it to 3 different people. That's a whole squad in certain games. That means Nintendo is foregoing selling 4 games in some cases for 1. This is the thing where I think, like, that is the biggest thing to me. If we had been growing up, let me put it like this way. If we had grown up with that ability in console gaming, think about this. If we had grown up with that ability in console gaming, so whether it was your Game Boy, your Game Gear, your Super Nintendo, your Sega, to where you could say, yo, I have NBA Jam, and now you have NBA Jam. I guess we couldn't do it because this is now, we're like even further into the future. So, right. So we have to get to where we had landlines. So it's like, I have Halo. Now you have Halo. And oh, by the way, you have Halo over there. And we only need to buy 1 copy of Halo. That is the way to go. And then today, I said, y'all can no longer share Halo, but you each can buy it for $10 less than the actual Halo you could share. You would be losing your collective mind, because that is actually not as good of a deal. Think about that. 4 people can play off of 1 game that's a multiplayer game that we couldn't do before. I don't care if you load it up on my profile. We both could not play the game at the same time. Yes, exactly, Joe. Exactly. Another feature, like I said, there were things in this showcase that were reminiscent of Stadia. But we've collectively said that is a bad deal. Even though I just showed you all, because of inflation, a $60 game back in 2017 is essentially a $80 game in 2025. No one's talking about how this is Activision Blizzard going to say, oh, Purple, you play Call of Duty. You can now loan Call of Duty out to 3 other people so y'all can all squad up and play Call of Duty. Are they going to do that? Have they mentioned that? No. We as the gaming community have said, hey, we're okay with buying 2K games year after year that are actually the same, like basically the same game. Imagine if Mario Kart sold you the same game with a few different tracks and a few different cars year after year at $70. Would we say that is a good deal? This is where I kind of have to draw the line when people are coming out and saying anti-consumer, Nintendo's bad, when I'm like, actually, if the entire gaming industry just went the way Nintendo said, to say like, hey, you can pay $10 extra and now you can loan out the game. If the entire industry went that way, or said, hey, this is our most played game, now we will give you content drops that you can buy out as add-ons instead of having to buy an entirely new game. Because that's Mario Kart. If the entire industry went that way, how are you going to tell me that's not a good deal? This is what I saw during the Nintendo Switch 2 showcase. Again, price increases suck. But tell me, what am I getting for the price increase? And they did. I cannot do what I just told y'all with Mario Kart, the first one. I cannot do that. So for $10 extra with Switch 2, because it's compatible with certain games, and we know Mario Kart it's compatible with, I got something for $10 extra. Now, whether or not I can go out and play, or I have friends to share the game with, that might be very much the case. I may not have the friends to do it. But in that case, if I wanted to buy Mario Kart the game, and I didn't want to spend $80, then I should might as well just go buy the bundle that I mentioned earlier and get the game for $50 on top of the price of the Switch 2. This is why I just don't understand when people are talking about anti-consumer, Nintendo's horrible. You're actually missing what is actually anti-consumer and horrible. Someone raising their price because of inflation or raising the price to keep up with inflation is not anti-consumer. You will not win that court battle. However, you know what you could win the court battle that no one's talking about is how virtually 90% of game companies launch a game in poor quality. 90% of the other console manufacturers, they said, hey, our system is going to launch day and date at 4K 120 in some cases. Guess what? That's misleading marketing and advertising. You can sue on that. You can sue on bad quality. When you have a company who buys every other company, which actually limits your choice to not do business with that company, that's actually anti-consumer. You don't have to take my word for it. Just go look at the law. Tell me the law that talks about price gouging. You want to know why there's not a law that talks about price gouging? Because that's not considered anti-consumer. But show me when gaming, where we have people who are saying, yes, we did inflation, and Purple just showed us that on the CPI inflation calculator, it looks the same. That's actually bad. The same people who are talking about, and I'm dead serious about this, that are the same people who are talking about paying $80 a game right now. I better see these same people going out on picket lines and trying to raise minimum wage for people. Because guess what? That's not kept up with inflation. But you want to know what? They don't want to do that. They want to talk about an $80 game, which is a company that actually treats its employees' rights, that actually raises their wages, a company that actually gives you a game delivered in the best quality it can. Tears of the Kingdom had so many different things going on it, but that game did not have one bug. But yet we want to say that game's anti-consumer? That company's anti-consumer? The company that just said our number one game that we sold over 55 million copies to. The number one game. We are going to let you share that game, but we're going to charge you additional $10 for that game. That is something I'm getting extra. Tell me 2K is doing that. Tell me EA is doing that. Tell me Activision's doing that. Show me the other company that is doing that with their number one game. But that's anti-consumer. I said this part was going to be controversial because I think it is. Gamers have been talking about wanting so many things, but guess what? The system is breaking. It's a weird bunch. The people who are arguing the most are willing to spend money on the same game time and time again. But they're not going to say anything about that. I just don't get it. Like I said, I think it's okay to be upset with a price increase. I 100% believe no one wants to pay higher prices. But if you can show me what you're getting, like if you can tell me what you're going to get on top of it, I can't be too mad at you. Like, I need someone to try. Like, I've been trying to figure this because I left the showcase. Like I said, the number one thing I thought was bad was paying for a demo. That's the number one thing. You can agree with me on, like, or I can get on board with that. Like, yo, paying for a demo, that ain't really the best thing. But I'm going to find a really hard time to say a price increase and you're giving me something else for the price. And then I can actually get away with not doing the price increase if I just buy the bundle to begin with. I don't know. I'm going to need some help. And that takes me to my last part, the grifters. All right, Nintendo, anti-consumer, the grifters. There is a lot of people in gaming because of social media, and this isn't new and it's not going to change, but it's become super in vogue to try to be anti-whatever. And like I said, two companies need to do well for gaming to do okay this year. Great. Get it? I didn't say so gaming could do well. I said gaming could do okay. That's Nintendo and that's 2K. And like I said before, if you need any indication of that, look how many publishers were lined up to support Nintendo. And so now we have a lot of grifters who are upset about who knows what up in the world, who I can understand want to throw out terms like anti-consumer because they heard their streaming buddies say the term anti-consumer, who in that person saw it in a meme and that person didn't even like graduate high school and whatnot. And now they think they know what anti-consumer is. Those people, at the end of the day, who are not willing to actually call out the actual bad practices in the industry, the grifters, if you want to be upset with anybody in this whole situation, it's the grifters. Not many people are buying games. Some people would say because people aren't making the games that they want to make anymore. Some people would say because the games are becoming boring. Some people are saying because of the remakes. Some people, because, you name whatever it is. The reason why we're in this situation is simple. Games are costing more, and when they put all this effort into a certain game and then it gets like review bombed or it gets whatever, guess what? That's just another indication where people are like, Gaming's a fad. Let me go do something else in AI. It is what it is. And so I guess that's where I leave off, right? I think like at the end of the day, did Nintendo hit a home run? No. Were the stakes very high? Yes. Do I think they met them? Yes. I think anytime you have a new product launch to try to bring over your old customer base as well as expand it is extremely hard. I think Nintendo did what they had to do. They got new publishers, or they have a whole list of publishers on there to support them starting day and date. They said, hey, you can bring your old game, can still work on the Switch too. They're going to probably have something where your data transfers over, even if the cartridge doesn't transfer over. I mean, I just feel like they're trying to do everything they can to try to make this as smooth of a transition as possible. And sure, not everybody's going to be happy. I don't, there's certain things, like I said, paying for the demo, I'm not happy about that. But at the end of the day, I would say that I'm still like about 85 to 90% like, whoa, that was like all really amazing stuff. And then like the other 10% are it's like questions I have and or paying for the demo. That's where I'm at. But yeah, what is it? Oh, Crow, what's going on? I disagree, but Purple's simpleton. Y'all scare me. What, I scare y'all, y'all scare me. It's just it looks really fun, but it's hard to justify a new console for one game. I have the same issue at PS5. But Crow, I feel like Crow, you're a PC gamer. Through and through. I think Stadia made you a PC gamer. That's my logic. I would say I don't think a console is worth one game. Or if you really want to play that game, just wait for the console to eventually drop in price. But yeah, Crow, I think you're a PC gamer at the end of the day. The prices of Switch 2 will boost Switch 1 sales for a little while. I think it will, Aaron. I think you're right. I think they're not discontinuing Switch 1, right? I think Switch 1 will start to act as like a stepping stone to Switch 2. I think it's just this was a criticism we had between the Wii U and the Switch, right? A criticism between the Wii and the Wii U, a criticism between the 64 to GameCube, criticism between GameCube and in the Wii. And in virtually every Nintendo console, the more I think about it. And so the time that they actually get it right, actually, no, that might be wrong. The Wii to GameCube, one of those may have actually had it. But so the time they fix it, like if I think about it, everything if you go back to the criticism of Nintendo launches, they fix like 80 to 90% of the issues. Like that's that to me, that's just like, yo, what else do you want them to do? But Nintendo's will never kind of be, so I just don't play them. Crow, that's fair. Crow, that's 100% fair. Now we could talk about like I think one of the biggest losers. This is going to be a video later I make about the Nintendo Switch 2. One of the biggest losers, in my opinion, are people who are anti-exclusivity. They are a huge loser in the Switch 2 launch. So I totally empathetic to that. So I hear you on that. Like I think that's a legit criticism. I think all criticism are legit criticisms, by the way. I just feel like certain things, like we miss the forest for the trees. And quick get in, get out of games is what sells me on the Switch. Don't have time for long gaming sessions and gaming on the go. Yeah, I think for me, the Switch, once I saw that they're going to do an upgrade for Tears of the Kingdom, it's like, okay, that'll probably be the first game I play on Switch. Like y'all never heard me talk about DK, like, Donkey Kong. Like I'm not into Donkey Kong like that. Not into what was the other one? Um, what was it? A Kirby game? There was another game they were showcasing that's coming. Those aren't my characters. You know what I mean? Um, but at the end of the day, like I understand what the Switch like. If you think about it, the Switch is like a baseline. It also shows what is possible. Um, and sure, could we use Discord integrations and so forth? Yeah, I guess you could, but to do some of the same stuff. But I think eliminating the middleman and trying to like build your own thing, like think about it, that's what makes Apple Apple. You know, um, it's just a different way to do it, and I'm glad there's the option for us to do it that way. But again, exclusivity is a selling point for the Switch. So I don't know. I love quick get in, get out games. Simpleton, I knew you were. I how? Jeez, how? I don't know. But again, y'all who are feel differently about why the price increase. I gotta understand. Like I was gonna actually do South of Midnight for this stream until I was like, oh no, I should probably do Nintendo. What am I missing on the price increase? I'm really trying to understand this. What am I missing? Because I can't y'all have heard my point of view on it. I have to be missing something. Other than it sucks to pay more for games. And let me just go through. Did I miss anything else from the Switch? Larger screen, Joy Cons, adjustable stand. No, 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 none of that. I don't see anything else. I think I hit everything. If there's something I missed, y'all can pipe in. Kirby Air Raid. It was a Kirby game. Okay. But let me post this in there. Let me close out. What the heck? Let me close something out. Let me put this in there. And if I got disconnected, that's on me. There we go. As if somebody wants to come in. I'll launch it. But can you also hear me? 'Cause I can't. There's certain times where like my screen goes frozen, and I don't know if it's frozen for you all. Gotta bounce you up. Hey, Obi, no worries. No, Obi, you just continue to try to get that award, man. Best dad, best dad. I hear you. I see you doing great things. Um, Yo, we saw Street Fighter 6 on the Switch. Switch 2. I think that's what Capcom showed. Some Street Fighter 6 thing. I don't know. But thanks for stopping by, Obi. Like I said, I'll be making a video like about certain topics. So like biggest winners and losers, my overall idea about the pricing. So if y'all want to like I'll probably get like Rune Mamba or Severin who writes like an entire like one pager on why I'm wrong. That's gonna be something. The features I thought were the coolest, which y'all kind of got an idea, was like the spatial thing, the state share idea, and overall, I actually thought the mouse thing was cool, but Crow's gonna disagree with me. Which is okay. It's okay. I thought it was kind of a cool thing, but maybe I'm wrong. Of course I'm wrong, you know. But if anybody wants to come in, I'll leave it up. And if not, that's okay. It's okay. I gotta, like I said, I gotta gotta make videos tonight. Because I got the energy to do it. But other than that, like I said, that was all I really had for today's thing. Unless there's something else I'm missing. But let me do this really quick. Any Hulk streaming. me get on. Oh, oh, ah, 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 ah. Oh my goodness. Am I not getting oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It wasn't updating. What? There's no way Obi Rose is taking my award from me. Jeff. So many games I want to switch to. Aaron, what games? What games? King J. Hey Purple. That was a good talk. I think the demo was meant for those who want to take apart the Switch 2. People will probably take it apart anyways, but Nintendo is saving the people the time. That's cool, Kenny G. That's cool. That's my biggest criticism. But if I thought it could have been a developer thing, but that's cool. Ambi, I see you did some gifteds. Thanks so much. My thing was in updating Cold Blood. All these people, Real Arrow had a pretty good take. I saw his video on the Switch too. Trey Gaming, I saw his stuff in Twitter. So thank you so much, Ambi. Thank you so much. I don't know. It stopped updating on my end, so I apologize about that. I shouldn't apologize. Restream show apologize. Let me do that at the top. But Kenny G, thanks for that. So I get what you're saying. So for people who kind of want to like kind of look through the whole thing on their own and potentially build a game, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. Um Again, I think if we go back to like Switch 1 had a basically an 8-year lifespan, and we think about Switch 2 in its lifespan, and we're now talking about going to 2033, potentially 2034 with the Switch 2. Obviously, they may do some upgrades here and there, like an OLED or whatnot. Um, from what they showed me, I think there's things that they could build upon, and that there's certain types of games that we don't actually know about now, but could be a thing then. And um, and so from what I saw a lot of possibilities. Whether it was the state share, whether it was the idea of even just the camera idea to be able to do that with the platform and not need a PC. I saw something there that I thought could be a game development tool. Obviously, the Joy Cons and the mice and how they're working. I think there's still some. I'm not sure if it's a pure gyro. I don't quite know, but I could see something there. And so when I see these different elements building upon each other, I see where Nintendo is again going to push what is possible. Um, or the developer in collaboration with developers, what is possible. And if you're saying someone who's trying to take apart the Switch, um, I think that's kind of cool. Nintendo has Mario, Sony has Astro. What does Xbox need to sell their handheld? Thoughts? See, so Kenny, I'm actually gonna make a video about like the biggest winners and losers for with the Switch 2. I already told you one is like people who are exclusive. The other person, the other group I think are exclusive are people building third-party Xbox handhelds. And part of it's for the reason you just said. I don't think any of the third party Steam, obviously they have a storefront associated with their handheld, so I put them in like a very elite category. But the other ones who are just becoming like third party manufacturers, which is what the first Xbox handheld is going to be, I gotta ask like what is gonna be coming with this handheld? Um, I'm not sure exclusivity is the goal. Like Xbox has said, it's not the goal. I'm not sure if the market can really take another handheld unless it has a very solid value proposition. So to me, not only has first party IP, but there's some of these other things. Like I don't know if spatial sound is actually in some of the other handhelds. I may be wrong on that. So you all who have Steam, I would have to ask Chariot Man because he kind of Chariot Man or ISO, they kind of know all about the handhelds. But I really have to think from the games I've seen and understanding how Nintendo supports specifically companies that partner with them to put games on the Switch. Uh, in my opinion, Xbox's play is not so much to create a new. Actually, it's actually pretty free because right whoever builds the handheld is going to pay Xbox for the licensing. So it's easy for Xbox to say, sure, we'll put our name on it. But I would have to think for any other manufacturer of handhelds, you have to think like, are they going to be putting the same resources that Nintendo's put towards the Switch too? I I don't know, but maybe Switch just pushes them to now develop something more. But it, I I don't know. So I don't think to me Xbox doesn't. It's not necessarily Xbox as much as it's the people who are manufacturing the Xbox handheld who is really going to have to answer that question. Xbox should revive Clippy for their handheld. I thought they may with AI. I don't still quite understand the difference between Clippy and AI, but that could just be me. Look at it. Jack of all trades. Anyone else think purple is aging backwards? What? What? Uh-uh. No, definitely not how I feel. I am tired now. Hey, Johnny Roadkill, what is going on? Yo, y'all, we're gonna be trying to bring Johnny Roadkill on in the next 3 weeks in April. In April. Johnny, I know. What's up, Johnny? You just got a membership, Johnny. I saw your name. Your name just came through. As a membership person. But and welcome Jack of all trades. If y'all have not seen Jack of all trades, Shades of Purple, first person shooter extraordinaire. He's actually a variety streamer now, and he's no longer playing multiplayer games. Jack, I keep up with you. I keep up with you. I keep up with our Shades of Purple alumni. But yeah, we just talked about this the Switch too. I gave my overall thoughts. Chat disagreed with me like normal. But it is what it is. It is what it is. How's that guy? I did things going well, like I said. It's not going too bad. I bet Purple's back in knees. No, she ain't aging backwards. Back in knees. What are you trying to say? Simpleton, what are you trying to say? Oh man. Oh man, yeah. No, it's just my fact I gotta go to sleep. I think that's the first. I always gotta slow sleep. My metabolism slowed down. Like that happened. Um, I'm now like, I don't know. There's too many things. There's too many things. I realized I got what is it, ma'am? I got a whole bunch of that in London. So that should tell you I'm not aging backwards. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Jack. I should appreciate it. Backstage. You are Joe, I didn't even see you. It didn't make a sound. It didn't make a sound.
What's up,
Joe, it
Double?
didn't make a sound.
Hey, that's all right.
What's going on, Joe?
Oh, just another day in paradise, I guess.
Oh my goodness. Is that your house in the background?
No, this is not my. This is a virtual background. This is not my house.
Oh, I couldn't tell. It's like, is that your house?
I wish, right?
What's going on, Joe? So you saw Switch 2. We had conversation on here about 2 months ago regarding it. What did it live up to your expectations or not?
For what I expected, yeah, I would say it lived up to my expectations. To be honest, I mean, I think much like you said, a lot of the stuff they're doing, I think, has a ton of potential. We'll have to see how it gets implemented, whether it's like the camera stuff or whether it's like the party chat with friends. And from like a content standpoint, I was like, oh, can I put myself on camera while playing the game and just take that and plug that into YouTube and like good to go? I don't need like a bunch of software to like stream a game and have me on screen while playing the game type stuff. Will that work? Will that happen? Who knows? But yeah, no, overall, I mean, I think it lived up to it. I think there definitely were some low points throughout the piece, but I mean, overall, a lot of the things like the general user base has complained about, like 4K and better FPS and like all the fidelity race or whatever, like you're going to have that. Now you can argue that like first party titles from Nintendo may or may not take advantage of that. But it might be cool to play something like, I don't know, Hogwarts or Cyberpunk or whatever at 4K 120 HDR on a Switch.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously, we're gonna have to see how it goes. I don't think. Yeah, I think some of the games probably won't push that actual, 4K 60 or
Mhm.
whatever they're gonna say, But I think overall, like I said, I did a video last year where I talked about the problems each of the big companies had to do. Sony had a cost problem. Microsoft had like a revenue problem. Nintendo had a product problem, which I would actually say is kind of the hardest problem. How do you create a new generation of hardware that brings people over?
That's one
And
I think they actually tackled masterfully. So if you really watch and you read between the lines, they're doing a ton of like ecosystem integration. So
yeah,
now we've got
huge.
party chat. Now we've got the Nintendo Switch camera. We got the Switch 2. Now we're talking a companion app for a game that's on your phone. We're talking the Nintendo Today app that's going to give you all your Nintendo news. Like, come on into the Nintendo ecosystem, much like the Apple ecosystem or the Android
I continue to
ecosystem.
say it's like app. I think Nintendo's kind of that like is an Apple Disney that like it's interesting what they're doing. Like I'm a fan of it. So Kenny, there we go. We got people and Joe. Is Switch to a day one purchase? If I can get it, yes, for me.
I've
It,
early registered everywhere you can early register, like
yeah,
Best Buy, on Nintendo, on GameStop. Yeah. So,
I'll say it like this. I'll say it like this, Kenny. So Switch 2, I plan on playing Reanimal on Switch 2. I plan on for the vast majority of the games I play. All right. I plan on getting them on the Switch 2. So the earlier I can start buying games on Switch 2, the better. I will get Mario Kart, the bundle if I can get it, because I've been doing my Saturday stream with the community. I think that would be a cool
that
game
would
to
be cool.
do with the community, right? That's saying 24 players or whatever, you know. Uh if I can get what is the game I'm playing? 33 Immortals or Orcs Must Die. I think that would be cool to do with the Switch. Um, and especially considering you then have that integration with the chat within the game. Like
Yeah.
I think in where you can have that like icon, and to me that is something that I'm looking forward to. So yes, day one buy.
Yeah, for me, it's, I don't have time to sit down like and play games like I used to. So like I'm on the train or the subway or commuting or like in between work and school and whatever, and so like the Switch just makes sense for me.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah. And Mel, I guess what? Yeah, you're right. It's either 4K 60 or 1080 120. I'm sure there's going to be something in between. I think when I saw that there was a if I can go back to that fidelity where they showed where your fidelity is, did they not have 1440p?
I don't
Uh,
know. I'd argue though on a screen that size, like the
but
60
if it's
versus
docked,
120, like
docked.
you're not
I'm
gonna
looking at
notice.
it docked. Docked. Would they have 1440p docked? I don't know, but you're right, Mel. You're right. It's not. But I would still say some of the games may not run 4K 60. Like I do not think Cyberpunk's going to run 4K 60 on docked.
I would be surprised. It would be
Yeah.
cool.
What I was hoping is they would say like, "Hey, we're offering you Cyberpunk with a third person point of view." That would be cool to me, but they didn't do that. I'll most likely wait for the new Mario to get a Switch too. Did they even announce a new Mario? This
Mm-mm.
is another like I thought one of the biggest risks they did. This is actually, in my opinion, the biggest risk they made, and I'm gonna probably make a video about this. Going out with Donkey Kong as your marquee title. To me is as you're like like if you think about it, Switch going out with Zelda, that's a risk last time because Zelda was not as huge as it is today.
Mm.
Donkey Kong, everybody knows Donkey Kong, but do the Donkey Kong, like if you think about it from a commercial standpoint, I don't know, but maybe that's why they have Mario Kart now that I think about it. But having Donkey Kong and Mario Kart kind of leading your day one launch titles, to me, that is a risk. Not going with a Mario not going with the Zeldas, the one that are legitimate, like know they can pull their weight, know they can sell 10 to 15 million copies within the first week to 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think a lot of the third-party games they showcased were interesting. You know, like Enter the Gungeon 2 or whatever the heck it's
I saw
called.
that, yeah. There was
You know, it's a Devolver Digital title. You know, those tend to do well. I mean, there was a ton of third-party games that they.
Yeah, I thought it was like I thought it was a huge show of support for the gaming. Like, I think what I saw there is like, okay, Nintendo has historically, you got to think that Nintendo is a competitor to these people in certain instances, but the whole entire community in the gaming side of, like the game community, I don't like game quite understand.
Your mic, there it goes. There we go.
Is
Silent films with purple.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, no, I think it's picking up your webcam or something.
Hold on. Why does it do this? What about now? No? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. It's like echoey and obviously not picking up from that microphone.
Oh, it's not picking up anymore? I don't know, y'all.
But this is a perfect example where the Switch 2 camera would be awesome if we were playing a game together.
Let me see. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, y'all.
Nope, it's back. We're good.
It's back? Okay. All right. So, and I totally missed my point of view or what I was saying. What was I talking about?
Third-party games. They're competitors.
Oh, third-party, yes. Like, the entire gaming community is kind of up against this wall where they all have to, like, to get, like, they've consolidated, like, they've come together and realized, like, hey, we got to get along if we want to see our industry get to the next decade. I know some people don't see it like that, but it's true. That's why you saw so many of these companies saying we're supporting it, because they need the sales. Switch has the platform. You know, that's why Xbox is saying we're gonna put our stuff everywhere. We're out of the exclusivity game.
Right. And I think honestly the Switch 2 sales will start driving less exclusives on other consoles. Like if the sales go really well, because like the Microsofts they're not throwing out bags of money like they were 5 years ago to these developer companies. They're just not. So, you know, if Switch sales go over well, like they're forecasted to go over, you know, I don't know how many exclusive, you know, Microsoft only titles you'll see.
I don't think you'll see any of it. And I think there's another big one we saw. Like, one of the most interesting things I saw, which a lot of people were like, oh, that's a diss, but no, they said they were going to do this. Square Enix Final Fantasy 7 remake. You know, now you could kind of see where Switch potentially can act as a stepping stone to people who might be trying to get into PlayStation's ecosystem or trying to get into PC or something. Like, you're seeing Switch not only acting as a system that can hold its own for a gamer's life cycle of a gamer, but acts as also an entry point to other, like, hey, I played this on Switch, but I really feel like I want to get a better experience, more fidelity or whatever. It acts as a stepping stone into that. And so that's why when Crow talks about he thinks it's a dumb idea, it's a potentially, but it also says to someone like, hey, I know I played this on Switch, but potentially I want a better experience with mouse and keyboard. Let me go actually invest in the PC. That's why I think, like,
and
I thought it was,
if you think bigger picture, not to go down the rabbit hole too much, but for a lot of these other companies that don't have another console that's like fully out there that you could pre-order, or that pre-order dates pending or whatever, the cost of all those things, at least here in the States, is going to go up. And that cost has to be passed somewhere. So when the supposed Xbox handheld come out, even if someone else makes it, like it's not being made here in the States. And, we got wonderful tariffs that are going to drive everything through the roof. So what are a lot of these folks going to do? Like, oh, instead of, maybe a lot of those plans get delayed and they do bring other games to the Switch ecosystem because it's already, out there and established, and it just is more cost effective for the business.
Yeah. And in Simpleton saying here, I want to say they could have blown everyone away by having a Smash Bros. Game that can be shared like this party. I think they do, but I think the thing, they just didn't show Smash Brothers. But I think the fact that you can have Smash Brothers, I think that's coming. Like, I just don't think they had a day and date launch with Smash Brothers. But if I'm reading this right from what they're saying with game share, players can share and play the same game with others who do not have the game. If one person has a Nintendo Switch 2 system and a game compatible with game share, so that's the key word, it has to be compatible. I'm almost positive if they're doing it with Mario Kart. That's why I think Mario Kart, it's the #1 selling game on Switch. And it's not even close.
Yeah, as of December, it's like 188 million copies.
On Switch 2, it's huge. So if they're willing to do it on Mario Kart, you can almost assume they're going to do it for the entire group of games that potentially could be a 1-player or 2-player game. And that's where I said, like, to me, when I heard, like, oh, it's $80 a game, first thing I said was inflation, which I already showed y'all. It almost matches exactly to inflation. But the second thing I heard was like, wow, they're foregoing sales of the game to do this.
Right. Think about, there's 4 people in a room. We all want to play Mario Kart. We can either pool our funds or only one person has to buy the thing.
That's huge.
It's three sales they miss out on. Now extrapolate that over like 180 million sales of Mario Kart as of December 24. It's like a bucket of money, a truckload of money that they're foregoing.
They're foregoing it, but I just say do it the other way. Like, say that's how we always could game, and then do it like I said, go for $80 a game where we could do this, and then now go to how it was before and say I'm paying $70.
Right.
That I think you can then see, like, oh, wait a second, I'm losing. Like, no, that's not as good of a thing. And so that's why I think, like, if the entire industry went this or started to do something like this, like, would you pay, better example, would you pay $80 for those who play Madden? Would you pay $80 for Madden and then $10 to $15 for an upgrade every year versus buying the entire game again? That's, to me, like the equivalent.
Right.
Like, they're saying, they're saying, hey, we're going to charge you a little bit more, but the longevity of it is different. I don't know.
Or I look at, like, because the big thing, they were like, playing with friends together but separate, or however they worded it. Think like me, you, and Chariot Man. I buy Mario Kart, you buy the Kirby game, Chariot Man buys whatever, and then we just pass it around. And you bought one game, but you're playing 3.
So okay. So what am I drinking, Chariot Man? It's a certain drink I make to help quench my appetite at night, so I don't snack. That's exactly what it is. It's like a tea. So Mel is saying, at the same time, you're at the mercy of your internet connection, meaning when you transfer the game, but you are always at the mercy of your internet connection, no? Yeah, but Mel, I don't. Well, 2 things, Mel. This is for playing a multiplayer game. Like, right now, it's telling me that you can do game share, can also be used along with game chat for online play. But you don't necessarily need game and of course, when you first transfer the game,
right, you can play offline. Like, you don't have to be online to play. If you share a single player game with me, I don't need an active internet connection to play that game.
But I get where he's and I get where he's saying, like, I think price increases suck, but I continue. That's why I showed what I showed initially, which was a $60 game in 2017 is the same thing as a $78, $79 game in 2018 or 2025, whatever year we're in, 2025. But and I get it, price increases suck, but you gotta that's why I talked about the company in itself. Where do you if you only paid 60 to 70, that person who was working on the game in 2017, they're not getting the pay raise. Like, you got to take it somewhere. You're offering a 4K experience that's going to take more people to build the game. But if you're charging the same amount for the game, like, where do you take the slice out of the game? Or do you take it on the quality side? Do you take it on, like, the worker side? Do you, like, where do you take it? Do you take it on the experience of the game? Do you do what the 2Ks, the EAs do, where you don't really change that much in the game? Which we already saw they're changing things in the game.
Right.
But that's where I see
microtransactions in it to make up the difference. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, where do you? I'm not. Well, you know, we're good, but like, that's why I asked the question: where do you push? Oh, you're talking about the other thing. I was confused by the other thing they've got where you essentially screen share. No. I'm talking about I'm talking. So you got game share, and then you have the virtual game cards. The virtual game card is the digital game that I can give to another player, and they have it for 2 weeks. The game share is essentially I can give you Mario. I can give Joe Mario Kart, Mel Mario Kart, Rouster Mario Kart. Y'all can go to your houses, and I'm here, and we can all play Mario Kart, or you can play Mario Kart on your own, or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I'm thinking about when I go even further is the thing about, like, and this is now getting a little bit more like wonky what you can now start to do with it. You can now start to have things like state share, which is not what it's called here, but what they show with Tears of the Kingdom, where you can now play a game, do something with that game, take a picture of it, then give Joe something with that game.
Oh, the blueprint thing. Yeah,
blueprint, and build off of that game. Like, to me, obviously it has nothing to do with $80 a game, but to me that talks about, like, the technological advancement in the Switch 2, that where I start to justify the additional pricing and so forth going forward. No worries, Mel. No, like the Share Play PS4 hat that they had are now I'm saying, but the other thing they talked about from last week's Direct is pretty solid. Yeah, they listed as two separate things on the site, right? So they listed as literally. I'll show you exactly what I'm looking at, y'all, so you understand what I'm.
Yeah, some of the names they could have come up with things could have been like a little bit better. I don't know.
Yeah. So this is literally. Oh no, that's not what I'm. That's not. Hold on. There we go. Here we go. So is this where? Here we go. So this is what I'm trying to share. So as you can see up here, you have the Nintendo games are also playable. Where did we go? There we go. These two things. Multiple people can play the game titles with game share. I know you know that. I'm just for anybody else who didn't. And then you have the virtual game card. Players can easily manage their purchases. They play on two different systems, or even lend or borrow the games. So technically, they're considering these two things differently. But this one is the one that they specifically showed with the Mario Kart game. This is the one that they were talking about last week that Holtz had an issue with.
Scroll up a tad, Purple. 4K resolution, 120. That's what I thought.
By connecting it to talk to a TV, you can output video at up to 4K resolution and play games at 120 via compatible games and TV. I don't know about that. 4K 120. Like that's
That's
crazy.
what it says. I mean, what's
That's
going to
what it
support
says.
it? Who
Like
knows?
I don't
But
know about that.
that's what it says.
But yeah. So yeah, I don't know. So that's what I was getting at. This is all coming from Nintendo site. So this is like Nintendo what they're actually saying, and then if we come down to the pricing, this is where I was coming. Suggested retail pricing: Switch at $499, bundle $499, or $449, $499. Mario Kart they're saying is $80. So I know Simpleton was saying $90. I have not seen Nintendo's post $90 anywhere. I can send to you to see $80. Donkey Kong at $70. The Pro Controller, which these are all probably kind of like, say what you want to say. The camera at $50. Say what you want to say about that. But yeah, so that's kind of the pricing we have so far. That's where I was getting what I'm saying. Now, if it is
wonder if you'll
90,
have to use their camera, or could you use any USB-C camera?
I would imagine you're gonna have to use theirs. Like I'm gonna imagine that they're gonna make it, but I could also see them at some other date making this a higher, if there is like a demand for a better camera, that you getting an upgraded camera at some point. Like I could see that at something if there is the demand for it. But again, I ultimately thought it was I thought it was I thought it was good. And now Kenny G just, my biggest complaint was paying for the demo. Kenny G just told me like, yo, here's a different way of thinking about that. So like I'm open to it. I thought it was a solid showcase. And it is a day and date buy. What about you, Kenny G? Is it day and date? If you're still in chat, you may not be, and that's totally okay. But let me close this down. Let's bring us back on. There we go. There we go. There we go. It's 90 physical from what I've seen. Did they say 90 physical? That's the thing. No one can show me 90 physical. They can show me where they said $80 digital, but even Tears of the Kingdom is $70 digital, $70 physical. Like I've never seen Nintendo like that's, I guess, Mel, you may know, because Mel, you and Johnny Roadkill are y'all play Nintendo way more than I do. But has Nintendo ever sold a digital game cheaper than the physical game? I can't think of when they've done that. So that's why when people are telling me like, yo, it's 90 physical and 80 digital, I'm like, well, Nintendo's never done that. I can see where we've paid cheaper for a Steam game than a console game. I see that. You got me on that. But I can't see where we have had an arbitrage that we've seen where the physical is more on Nintendo than the digital. That's, I guess that, and if I'm seeing like on this thing, it's literally telling me Mario Kart World is 80. And maybe I'm, like I said, I'm open to the pushback. Like I'm truly trying to understand, not Mel, that you're necessarily arguing with me or anything, but I'm truly trying to see where are people getting some of this information from that we've never seen Nintendo do before. Like Super Mario Wonder, digital is 60, physical is 60.
I mean, I could see like third-party retailers maybe tacking some extra on just because the cost it's going to cost them to get some of the stuff.
Like here, and this is what and
like
let
the Targets of the world or the Best Buys or whatever.
Yeah, let me screen share. Let me do this really quick. Like, so here's where I'm coming up with this one. Let me do this. So this is a great example. Physical, the digital and physical. Oh, y'all can't see because Joe and I are in the way. So let me kind of scroll down a little bit. There we go. This is what I mean. It's the same price.
Yeah.
That's what Nintendo's like. And I could go through every single one of these and show you the only time that I don't know if it's the only time, But if I go to Tears of the Kingdom, here we go. This is their $70 game. I think it's their only $70 game, by the way. Digital was $70. That's the physical collector's edition, which is back there on the thing if you want. But the physical was also $70. So that's all I'm just saying. Like, just if it is the case that this is the time Nintendo's not done, and then I would criticize them because they haven't done it in the past. But until I can see it, I don't know. Apparently, the Nintendo Spain store lists Mario Kart at €90. Yeah, that's Spain. Like, okay, let's be very honest. Like, don't let me put my orange man hat on and say they should be the 52nd state. Don't let me do that. Don't let me do that.
Oh Lord.
Like euros and I mean, come on. It's Spain. Do we have anybody? I think I don't know if we have any. Maybe Estadia. Not Estadia. Ecstasy, the guy who debated on Xbox International. He might be from Spain. I think he might be the only person that we have in the community for Spain. But that's Spain. Again, this is what Nintendo's saying in USD. They didn't show euros. You know what I mean? They showed USD. And I have to take, if you're telling me some random site, simpleton, that listed it at 89 euros, something I'm not going to pay, period. But versus what Nintendo is saying on their website, I got to go with Nintendo. Usually the cost is the same. I get what you're saying, but I'm just showing you what I saw here. You're telling me a site on Spain versus Nintendo. You know what I mean? It's like you're telling me, like, the dude telling me, like, I've never seen Project 25 versus the dude who actually, like, implemented Project 25. Like, one of those I'm going to believe more than the other. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry. It's probably the most political thing I'll say tonight. But so that's all I'm saying. Like, if I didn't mean to post the it's okay. It's okay. Simpleton, you're good people. I think it's on the very bottom of their main page. I just did the very bottom.
Hold on.
I just did the very bottom. That was their page I just showed, Jack. That was their page. It's the Nintendo. I can't find the actual listing for the price, but every article I've seen says it's 90, including Forbes. I get it, but I gotta go with what Nintendo said. So unless Forbes and all these people are saying something, I think the biggest, I'm not saying y'all are wrong, by the way. I'm just saying, like, from what we've seen, they've maintained price parity. I just showed you that. Between digital and physical, they maintain price parity. And then they showed me MSRP, right? Like, it's not like I'm making it up here. They don't, on this one, they just say Mario Kart MSRP 90 or 80. Again, I'll show you exactly what I'm showing. Just so you don't act like Purple's making things up. Like I said, like, this is, here we are. That's this is the Nintendo site. This is the page. Literally, this is Nintendo. I'm not on anything else other. This is Nintendo's actual webpage. Let me get rid of my little border so y'all know. Purple, you're tricking us. No, this is the Nintendo's page. And this is the bottom. And there you go. Manufacturer suggested actual prices may vary, but this is the manufacturer suggested retail price. And I get 80. And I get Donkey Kong at 70. So I get what people are saying, but I'm going to take Nintendo over Forbes. Paul Tassi, I met him one time. Great guy. Kotaku, I don't know who writes for that.
I did just read on Nintendo's site that they do have a cliff note that says the Switch 2 camera or compatible USB-C camera. So maybe you don't have to use.
Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. So like, we'll have to see on that one. I didn't see anything about the camera, so that's something crazy. But again, I'm just going with what I'm seeing. But I'm open to. I'm open. Not saying not. Hey, let me see if we can do this. Keep Joe up there. And no, we don't want you. Oh my goodness. Let me hide you. There we go. Let me get you over there. Let me do this. But y'all can put, like I said, I mean, some I can see being wrong, but every single one of them, I don't know. I get what you're saying. I think every one of them can be wrong. That's what I'm saying. I think what happened was this.
I know every one of them can be wrong.
What I saw is this. I saw Nintendo at the end of the day put digital at 80. They literally said that at the end of the showcase. They said Mario Kart Digital Edition, $80. Everybody went wild at that and said, okay, the physical is 90.
Mm-hmm.
Now, needless to say, I don't know anybody who's actually done that before. Only thing I can think of is Steam, which is digital, is usually $10 for a console game, particularly the PS5 console games that you can buy physically. But I've never seen PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo actually pay, say, the physical. If it's a collector's edition, that's something else. Like, so what I have on the wall there, something different when it's a collector's edition of the physical. But I've never seen any of the companies do a physical edition more expensive than the digital edition. I think it was a bunch of people rushing to make a thing, to make a story, because it was in the zeitgeist and this thing took off. But I actually, truly, honestly believe there's some price parity reasons you cannot do that. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive it's the same exact game. I actually believe the Nintendo site where it says MSRP for Donkey Kong, nothing else, because then now we're talking false advertising. Now we're talking anti-consumerism. Forbes has an article. I get what you're saying, Jack. I get what y'all are saying. Forbes has an article on it. But I'm going to tell you, I think there are, like, maybe I'm wrong, but I have to go with what Nintendo says.
Yeah, they could all definitely be wrong. I'm just, just based on the nature of what I do 9 to 5 for work and what's reported in the news and what, like, the real deal is, like, they could all be wrong.
Simpleton, Simpleton, you just put a URL in there. Why don't you put another URL in there? Why? So you're saying store. I'm not saying what's in the EU. All I have is what is in the US store. I'm not going to Europe to buy this game. Now, what I will say is this.
It says manufacturer's suggested retail price. Actual price may vary. Yeah, that's like the CYA verbiage, though, I think. I mean, if it changes, it changes.
If it changes, it changes. And what's a reason why it could change, y'all? Tariffs. That's the reason it could change.
Mm-hmm.
So do tariffs, now you're getting into a political question. If tariffs hit physical media, how does that play out to the digital side of things? That is the only reason I can think why they have something that's different there. Because what is a tariff going to hit? If it's manufactured outside the United States, then to bring it into the United States, depending on the country, you're going to have a tariff of between 10 to 50%. Now I could see why they only said digital and they did not give a physical. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm not trying to give you some alternative message. That is the truth between would a tariff hit a digital product the same as a physical product. From what I can see in the past, Nintendo has always maintained price parity between digital and physical. That's all I can say. That's all I can go off of in what they're currently showing me. And most likely I was going to buy this game digitally anyway. Now, if Paul Tassi from Forbes wants to go more in depth than Purple just went into, he's more than free to do that. But I can tell you, I'm going to take my business knowledge over Paul Tassi 100 out of 100 times. No offense to him, but Paul's a journalist and Purple's a business exec. I'm going to take mine every single time over that guy. But I digress. We shall see. In 2 months, this will be put to rest.
What do you think? And if you talked about this at the beginning of the show and I missed it, just fill me in. But what do you think about how they're handling some of the pre-orders? Like you have to have a Switch Online account, and they're going to take into account like how often you play and like some other factors to try to like ward off scalpers and things.
Yeah, I think so if you think about it, we just talked, we actually saw them do something similar before. You can't see it up there, but it's the Alarmo, right? We saw them do it the Alarmo not too long ago. Yep. Something like this, where you had to have a Nintendo account to go get an Alarmo, and you could only get one. So I think that is definitely a way to do it to try to ward off scalpers. I think scalpers are still going to scalp, right? But I think it is an attempt, especially if you expect a huge amount of consoles to sell. So I'm actually okay with it. It's saying like, hey, if you are a Nintendo fan, it's actually prioritizing Nintendo fans over just anybody. So you're taking care of your closest, like think about brand loyalty. If you beat Zelda Breath of the Wild, you spent over 60 hours in the game, right? If you played 3 or 4 games that aren't Breath of the Wild, you spent over 50 hours in the game. So they're rewarding the people for brand loyalty. At the same time, they're saying, yo, if you want this and you really, really want it, you can go on Best Buy, Amazon, Target, whoever, to try to get it there. So at the end of the day, I have to be okay with it as someone who has it. But what about you, Joe? What do you think?
Hey, I mean, Geek, I think it's a good tactic to try to meet the ends of like, hey, we don't want a robot buying up a gazillion Switch 2s and putting them on eBay for 5 times the value or whatever. I think it's a good tactic. It'll be interesting to see how the invites get divvied out. Because I know, like, I registered on the Switch 2 page 3 minutes after it went live. Like, within 3 minutes of the page going live, I was registered.
No, I was ready. I'm also reading Fast's comment. Oh, the to be innocent again.
I'm gonna make my scrambled eggs.
Yeah, I fast. I wish. Yes, Fast reminds us all the time what matters in life. But no, I agree. I put it on the Nintendo site, and then also, like I said, I actually will be out of town right now or during the 5th. But I'm going to definitely be the first 4 hours. If I do not get my name on the list, I will be in front of the Nintendo store in New York City. So I'm debating an OnlyFan to afford gaming. Do I have a future? Mystic, you always have a future. You always have a future. It just may not be bright. Just saying. Just saying. So you didn't say you will have a future, but maybe not a bright one. But I doubt it. Mystic. But okay, Sour Blow is a great example. Sour Blow, you have a couple of different kids, right? What do you think of the Switch and the ability to share games? I'm kind of curious. I know there's other people in chat who have multiple kids. Joe, you have, don't you? I think Joe, you.
Yeah. I'll probably give my OG Switch to my 11-year-old, and then
and then just buy one game.
Yep.
I went to the Magic versus Kings game last week, and it was fantastic. Why the Magic won? He's in Orlando. He's a Magic fan. Yeah, who was I watching? The Magic good this year. Fast is a good dude. Fast is our resident Fall Guys champion. Hello, long time no see. This is Jesse. Jesse USA. Why the name change and why the Simpsons? What? Has to make a new account. So Jesse is an OG Stadia player. So he comes way back from that. Do my consoles count as kids? You wait. No, oh Mel. I was like, wait, did I get the mix? And they can. They surely can. So you can definitely give your game to another console, Mel, if you would like to. So it works for you as well. It was great. I'm a Rockets fan. So hopefully we see y'all in the championship fast.
You're a basketball fan in general, right, Bert?
I am basketball fan. Not as big. I've been really busy, but generally, yeah.
Looking for something interesting to watch. They got like the Celtics documentary thing on HBO Max, which is pretty cool.
Does it talk about the Celtics history?
Like the dynasty, yeah, like the history of it, like all the way going back.
Why would you say that on this? Because now I have Simpleton in here, and you're from Boston too. Y'all both live up there. Yeah. Oh my goodness, get out of here.
I was saying they got it. It's interesting, you know.
Yeah, you're the defending NBA champions, right? They won last year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Sourblow's a Celtics fan too, and he's upstate New York. My goodness,
interesting.
I remember this is like Golden State. Like I never ran into Golden State Warrior fans until Steph Curry started showing up. And now it's like Celtics fans, where were y'all like the last 15 years? Like since Paul Pierce days. Where were y'all since like that time? And now y'all are like showing up. Everybody's a Celtics fan. Oh my god. When I lost my phone, I forgot to change the number on Google account I had to start YouTube all over again. Oh no, Jesse. Well, Jesse, I'll subscribe to you. Is it? I'll look this up, Jesse, and I'll definitely give you a subscribe. You just get it. But yeah, so I do want to get to Jack of all trades. His comment. He had something up here. He says it's a cards that you can store games in for physical. They don't contain the entire game in them. The card to hold the games costs money. Yeah, the card in the game, it does. But all I'm saying to you, Jack, is historically the card and the digital have been the same thing. And if the card is made outside the United States going forward, theoretically, that's the only reason I could see them at it increasing the price is because that is literally going to cost them money now. Or it's going to cost the retailer money, whether that's whoever, to import that card, which most certainly isn't made in the United States, to do it. That's all I was saying, Jeff.
Right. I think that, I mean, my personal take on it is that's where we'll see the impact.
Yeah.
I know even companies like Hasbro and other companies have been talking about like, oh, our Star Wars merchandise we sell at Target is going to go up because of the cost to get it to Target.
Yeah. The whole thing, supply chains. Supply chain's a big one. Once the supply chain squeezed in one area, it has to happen. Like, it has to happen. So, that's why I could see digital becoming a much. It's interesting how tariffs would work on digital, and that's why I continue to say like it's $80 for the game. And from what I've seen from all of them, I shouldn't just give Nintendo credit. They've all maintained price parity. And I see where Mel said, "Hey, but it says suggested retail price." Totally hear you on that. But if you're buying from Nintendo, which you can buy the game from Nintendo directly, they're going to probably follow their suggested retail pricing.
And I mean, we could blow people's mind. At the end of the day, you're not actually buying the game if you read the end user agreement.
Oh, license. Yeah, you're buying the license for the game. I don't know. I've been a fan since it was Pearson Nobody. Pearson Nobody. Let's see. When did Boston? I mean, what? Robert Parrish? What do you know about that? That's kind of when I started. That's probably when he was already old when I started seeing him play. Warriors versus Lakers, and if you got to go, wish me luck. I got my writing assessment tomorrow. See it. Hey, later, fast, and we will be doing a Fall Guys here within the next month. I promise, fast within the next month. To be fair, I'm first a Red Sox fan, and then started following all Boston teams. Red Sox. Ugh. Like, I don't even like. Ugh. I can't stand the Red Sox. What, Joe? Are you a Red Sox fan?
Of course, I'm a Red Sox fan.
What?
It's like
it's not even like I'm not even into like baseball like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't watch them a ton on TV. I enjoy going to a game like at the park. I mean, that's a cool experience. But yeah, no, I'm a Red Sox fan for sure.
I guess I guess I remember when they won that World Series. I was stationed in New York at the time, and it was the Yankees versus. Well, they didn't win. They didn't beat the Yankees in the World Series, but it was the
ALCS or whatever.
Yeah, the one right before. I forget what they call it. The semifinals. and the Yankees were up 3-0, and it was the time they had the two really good pitchers. They had Schilling and another guy. And then they had the dude who looked like Jesus. I forget all those players, but I remember that. That because they were down 3-0. He's the dude who looks like American Jesus. Let me put that in perspective. Who else did they have? Maybe it was like Martinez. Is he a pitcher? Pedro Martinez?
Yeah, Pedro Martinez. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like they had a solid pitching staff and like hitters, and then they came back and beat the Yankees. And I was like super happy because the Yankees fans were like super. Back then, it was like the Yankees were like, we're gonna win everything, and so and yeah, I remember that. That was like 20 years ago. It's like 20 something years ago. That was like when I was like in my 30s. Oh my goodness. Like Yankees suck. I'm not saying I guess like how I'm a basketball fan, where I I know everything about baseball. If you take me to a game, like for the most part, I just want to be entertained. Like, sure, I want to see the Astros win because I'm from Houston originally. But at the end of the day, I don't like have allegiances in baseball like that much. I think I just have like, oh, this uniform looks better than like literally. That's kind of how I interact. Or the numbers. Baseball have tons of numbers, so it's kind of fun for me to play with them like that. Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, yeah, it was a Trot Nick. I can't remember him. I just remember those few players, and I remember they came back 3-0. I think it was like one of the first times in recent memory a team had been down 3-0 and came back to win it.
I got the newspaper somewhere.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was stationed in Bragg when it happened.
During that happened?
And my mom saved it and mailed it to me.
Oh my God. I just remember they were going crazy.
Because I took leave to come home for the parade.
Yeah, it was huge. It was like in the Army, it's huge. Like, because sports are like huge. And so like you see like this, and it was the Yankees they came back to, like arch rivals.
Mm-hmm.
And they came back. I thought that was pretty like cool, like, you know. So I get it, Boston. And then y'all like that was right before like the Tom Brady era of like winning, or right during the beginning of it. And then I can see why Boston gets excited. I can see it. I can name the whole team. Could you, Sourflow? Oh, that's crazy. Down 0-3, they came back to take the best of 7. So that was an epic run. I have the Boston Heralds. Oh, so Simpleton has it too. That's super cool. Yeah. Like y'all, all three of y'all are like, Boston fan. Y'all representing Boston. Yeah. I like Boston as a city. I'm not gonna lie. I do like it.
I
It's
took
character.
a night class when I was in college, like the first time before I joined the army, purposely. So in this over the summer, so I could have like time during the week to go to like the midday games that they do in July or whatever, and then
Wow.
go to my like comparative religion class or whatever the heck it was.
And Boston's the one with the red monster or
Green Monster.
something. What
Yeah,
is it? The green monster?
yeah, yeah.
That's Boston, right?
Yep, yep.
I performed at 2 Boston games uh during my time as a color guard person. And so I
Oh, no
remember that.
kidding.
So yeah, I performed at Mets games, um Boston games, Yankees games, and a couple of different like Nets. At the time they were the New Jersey Nets. My team missed the Super Bowl by like that much. They sent a different team. So that was like I used to think I was so important. Like so I was like one of the color guard people. Like so y'all see in the beginning of the game, you see like the military people with the flag. Like I was one of those people at one time. So that was way back. So if you go back, you'll see me in those. I've had that.
And if anybody's ever in the area, they do offer an awesome tour of the park.
Do they?
Yeah,
You
of
know
Fenway
who
Park. You can
also
tour it.
has a really cool tour? Um, uh, I don't even drink beer. Samuel Adams.
Oh yeah, been there, done that. Yeah.
Yeah. But have you met the founder?
Did we meet? We did some recruiting stuff with him for the
Oh,
army.
yeah.
Actually.
So he
We made him a
loved.
we made Sam Adams a pays partner.
Oh my goodness. Well,
So
he loves the army, and
yeah,
so we came by, and we were like looking at the tour, and it was like we got like this after the tour, and it was kind of cool. Like they gave us everything, and then this like drunk dude comes out of like the
yeah.
behind us,
He's like the
and
owner.
he's like drunk and like hiccuping, and he's like, "Are y'all from the army?" And we're like, "Yeah." And then they're like, "Oh, and our founder, blah blah blah," and it was him. And he like came from behind us, and it was just like the coolest thing for him to be there. And he's like, because I guess he used to work at the office. I don't know if he still does it because he was kind of old back then. And it was just super cool to get like a personalized tour from him.
Right.
uh like if y'all can't tell, like I have good positive memories of Boston for the most part. Just not in well, I can't even say I have a problem with y'all in sports because I don't really East Coast, Houston's West Coast, so yeah. I support the Nets when they were in the New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. You don't support them now in Brooklyn? That's odd. Most people support them in Brooklyn. They have a better stadium and everything. Super cool. Super cool. Well, y'all, it's past 10. Thanks, Joe, for coming on. But y'all, I'm open. I know Crow, I know Simpleton, and I know Mel all had issues with my pricing take. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with
and
it.
let you close it out.
Huh?
I said I'll drop off and let you close it out.
Well, Joe, you got anything to say? Streaming? What are you doing?
It's nothing, because I'm way too busy. Yeah, so nothing new and exciting on the horizon because I'm busy as all heck. We're getting to the end of the semester with my night classes, so I'm super busy and working.
I hear you.
My days are like 6:30 in the morning, or 6 in the morning to 10 at night.
I hear you. Well, Joe, thank you so much. We're waiting for Bunker Breakout. I know you're busy.
We'll get to it.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we'll get to slowly but surely. We'll get to it.
Yeah, and in Sour Blow, thank you so much, Joe, for coming on and having the discussion, and thank you, Kenny G, also out in chat giving us questions. But in Sour Blow, I think you're sadly mistaken. I know nothing that New York. What has New York stolen from Jersey besides Jersey being like a? I just think of New Jersey as like a suburb of New York City, but that's just me. And we'll take there. And but no, Y'all, thank you for the conversation. Obviously, y'all know how I feel about Nintendo. I'm going to be making videos. So if you really disagree with one of my takes, I'm going to be making like several different videos about like probably 4 or 5 of these different points. I think I already told y'all what they are going to be. Feel free to comment in there. And y'all know the angle I'm going to take in them. So if you want to counter it, please counter it. Uh, you know, um, and yeah, I truly am curious to hear about y'all's side of the story. But with that said, I'm gonna shut this one down because I'm old and I'm getting running out of energy. But with that said, I don't care where you game, how you game, why you game, what you game on, how long you've been gaming. As long as you're gaming, you're good with me. And as always, proof is in the plane. Oh no, as always, this purple haze, the proof is in the plane. See, I'm even forgetting. I'm forgetting my thing. But yeah, there goes Any Yoke, y'all. There goes the Lens of Truth. Go give them some support. And I will see y'all on the next one. All right. Take care, y'all. Cool little guitar song coming up in 3, 2, 1.